Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains. Today we're going to find out what you want in your next layout and what's maybe a right approach for you. I'm not going to give you the answers, but I do have 4 good questions to start the thinking process. I'm not going to talk about scale or era or brands or budget, none of that. So what type of model railroader are you? It seems obvious, but this I think is the best question and the place to start. The first most obvious type would be, I guess, a builder. Some folks just like to build. They like to build benchwork, they like to build structures, they like to program, they like to, do all the wiring. Some folks really enjoy that. Some folks, they like the operational side of model railroading, running at slow speed, switching, doing complex maneuvers, or perhaps the paperwork behind it, or just sitting at the control panel and operating the layout from there. Some folks like to create a scene and put as many details as they can into it, and these often look very realistic, I must say. They have collectors, folks who like to collect a lot of trains, so this will also influence the type of design and layout that might be for you. And this is also not black and white. I mean, some people, they might be really good in building and they enjoy that, but they also like the operational side of things. I'm just showing here that there's different aspects to the hobby that one might be more or less interested in. Then another big category is folks who want to, let's say, relive a certain time frame or a certain location, and they want to recreate that with their model railroad. And then of course you have folks who just want to railfan and see trains run by. I guess a lot of collectors who have a big assortment of trains would like this as well. So just to give some example, we all know Jensen Trains. Well, I think he is partially a builder and he really likes to create scenes and detail the hell out of them. We also have Ken Patterson. He himself always speaks of the run-by effect. So I guess he's pretty much a rail fanner. And he also has a larger collection of locomotives. Now we all know Larry Puckett. Just looking at his channel, he likes to build. He has built everything, and he also likes to showcase it and then explain it to folks. And then another favorite, Boomer Dioramas. Just look at his channel. He creates awesome scenes and they're so detailed. So I think that's really his jive right there. So on to question number 2, a skill level. And now it's important we all get a bit honest with ourselves because we all like to overestimate what we think we can do. We're not talking about what we can learn, I'm talking about what we can do right now. And this is important because if you overestimate it and you think, let's say you can make this really complex turnout with hand-laid track with a crossing going through it, yada yada, and then the chances are if you've never done that and you're going to start with something very complex, you're going to get frustrated and you're just not going to finish it. And limiting the complexion of what you want can really help in this. I mean, if you want a fully automized layout with signals that control the trains and everything is electronic underneath, that's quite complex. So it's maybe not something for your first layout. Other things that can add to this complexity are grades in your layout, and grades always leads to hills and mountains, which often have rock work, and they have bridges and viaducts. So you really need to think if you want this. Because if you, for example, really like rail fanning, you just watch the train drive by, then you might not want to create this rocky gorge where the train twists and turns through it, because that'll probably take you a lot of time to build and not give you that much satisfaction. Also, creating a very urban scene can create a lot of complex track work and also a lot of need for details and structures. I said if you're a builder, you might really enjoy it. But if you just want to run trains around, or if you just want to collect trains and run them through a city scene, then there's different ways to achieve that without complex hand-laid track. And now onto time and commitment. How much time do you want to spend on the hobby? I mean, is this just a winter hobby for you? Or do you just want to, is it seasonal in the winter for 2, 3, 4 months? You want to run trains, is that it? Or are you really dedicated to this all year round? Do you have a lot of friends that can help you, for example? Other aspects that come to play is maintenance. I mean, if you have a large layout, how much time do you have to maintain it? Do you have 5 hours a week just to maintain this basement layout, keep it all running? And then construction, like how much time do you have and when do you want the layout to be finished? I mean, if you don't have a lot of time and you don't mind your layout to be unscenic for years, then go ahead and build a big layout of your dreams. If you want your layout to be finished within a year or so for the next season, for example, but you don't have a lot of time, then you might want to start with something that's maybe a bit smaller, or where the benchwork is a bit narrower, or something like that. Let's just give it a bit of an extreme example. Jensen trains when he's a professional, so he has a lot of time, but he really likes to create scenes and detail the structures to the maximum. So if you see his entire layout, he has a lot of structures, but the overall size is not that big. It's only a medium-sized room that he's filled with it. So there's also no need, if you like to create scenes and build structures, to have a massive layout. You can do that with something way smaller. And if you look at his track plan, it's, I believe, just like a loop with maybe 1 or 2 spurs here and there. So I read from that, he doesn't really like to operate. He just wants the trains to run by and then go through the scenery. And on the flip side of the coin, if you just want the real fanning effect, you can do that quite quickly. Also, for a large layout, if you reduce the complexity, then you can have that up and running very soon. And then slowly, once it is finished, you can maybe detail it if you want that. And then number 4 is a size. How big do you need your layout to be to achieve what you want? Now, this is a bit of a tricky question. And as the statistics in YouTube tell me, almost all of you watching are men, so we all know bigger is better. But do you really need that to achieve what you want? I mean, the obvious downsides of a large layout are construction time, cost, and maintenance. And if you just want to operate your train, you can do that on a shelf layout. You can have very complex yet enjoyable operations on a shelf layout. And you can see this as well with the Boomer dioramas. He is building a layout, but he's doing it diorama by diorama, section by section. You know, start small, and then over time, as you create these little masterpieces, then you can slowly build your own layout. And size is also not black and white, huh? I mean, if you just reduce the depth of the benchwork, let's say from 2 feet to 1 foot, that's already right there half of the cost and time to construct it and to maintain it. And in 1 foot depth, or even 9 inches, you can tell a story. You can create a scene, you can have a siding or spur. You don't need those 2 feet all the time, everywhere. So I went through this process a while back. To see that, check out this video here on the left. And the video here on the right showcases the layouts that now inspire me for my next layout. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.